Good afternoon. Welcome to the last session of fourth day of Atal sponsored FDP on outcome-based education and accreditation process. Today we have Dr. S.P. Narote sir, Head of Electronics and Telecommunication Department, Government Residence Women's Polytechnic Tasgaon as a keynote speaker for the topic Criteria 5 Faculty Contribution. I take this opportunity to introduce our beloved HOD, coordinator of this faculty development program, Dr. S.P. Narote sir. So I give his introduction in short. Presently, he is working as Head of Electronics and Telecommunication Department in Government Residence Women Polytechnic Tasgaon. He has more than 20 years of teaching experience in engineering, polytechnic, and industry. He has published research papers in various national and international conferences and journals. He has participated in a number of national and international workshops, conferences, and training programs. He is a recognized research guide at Pune University, and 4 students have completed PhD under his guidance. He has worked as resource person for various STTPs and FDPs. Also conducted number of FDPs and STTPs. He has been honored with number of awards such as Best Polytechnic Teacher Award, Maharashtra and Goa region by IST, Best Teacher Award under Professional category by University of Pune, Best Paper Award at International Conference at NIT Surathkal and at Hyderabad. He is a gold medalist at ME Electronics from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar University, Aurangabad. His PhD work is in iris recognition-based new technique for person identification. He was resource person on iris recognition at National Shinnan University, Taiwan. Session chair for Telcon 2007, Taiwan for session on behavior analysis and facial recognition. Apart from this, he is very enthusiastic, takes initiative for conduction of different state and national level activities in the institute, good organizer, a motivating leader with foresight. We are fortunate to have such a dynamic person as our HOD. Once again, I welcome you, sir, as a keynote speaker for this session and request you to start your session.
Very good afternoon, all of you. Very good afternoon, all of you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Am I audible to you, madam?
Good afternoon, sir. You are
Hello.
audible, sir. Good afternoon, sir. You are audible.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Yes. Thank you, sir. It's really a pleasure for me or in front of you to deliver a session on faculty information and contribution. If you look at whatever the sessions we have organized in this work, it was related to the outcome-based education and accreditation process. So whatever the earlier 7 sections are conducted, in that 7 session, we have seen what is basically outcome-based education, and then different various accreditation process. So in this present session, I will be having a discussions on faculty information and contribution. So there are various criteria defined by the NBA. If we go for the self-appraiser report, when you look at engineering diploma, if you look at engineering, there are 2 criteria. One is tier 1 and tier 2. In this, whatever the criteria they have defined 10 criteria, and total weightage is of 1000 marks. The distribution for every criteria is different. When you go for diploma, they have given 9 criteria, and the total weightage is also 1000 marks. So if you look at tier 1, tier 2 or diploma, whatever this self-appraiser report is there, it doesn't make a difference whether you are studying a diploma in engineering, diploma in pharmacy, or degree in engineering or degree in pharmacy. Now, if you look here, one and the same every criteria has given a common weightage. On an average, they have distributed this mark. Just for sample basis, I have shown here Tier 1, Tier 2 diploma, vision, mission, program, educational objectives, they have given is as 50, 60, 50. When you look at the particularly at the diploma, one criteria they have removed, that is the first year academic special criteria is there for Tier 1 and Tier 2, which carries a 50 mark. The same has been removed from the diploma. And if you look at faculty information and contribution, the weightage given for this is Tier 1 and Tier 2, it is 200. And for diploma, it is 50 marks. If you look at various sub-criteria of this Tier 1, Tier 2 or diploma, starting from student faculty ratio, faculty qualification, cadre ratio, retention ratio, faculty competencies in a correlation to a program specific criteria, there may be a faculty teaching learning, faculty participation in training, organizing the programs, research development, maybe a consultancy testing, then faculty performance appraisal and development system, and the last one is visiting adjunct or emerald faculties which are available at the institute. So wherever the blue color I have highlighted, particularly for that institution or at that level, that criteria is not there. Now, as an example, if you look at the engineering colleges, it may be a university, it may be an autonomous, the cadre ratio decided is 1:2:6. That is one professor, two associate professors, and 6 assistant professors. For particularly, there is no such cadre ratio. There are 2 designations. One is lecturer, and next is okay. So this particular faculty qualification, faculty cadre ratio is not there for diploma. Particularly, one more criteria they have added to the Tier 1 institution, that is what is the competence of faculties in correlation with the program specific criteria, because in Tier 1, all the Tier 1 institutes are autonomous and they have the freedom to monitor, to modify their program curricula. And one more part is that if you look at the visiting adjunct or emerald faculty, this particularly is not there for the diploma. But nowadays, even when you go for the AICTE's funding, they are providing for this. Now we just highlight on this criteria 5. We'll be starting with the student faculty ratio, faculty qualification, faculty retention, then faculty participation in various training programs. Faculty, they have organized various workshops in the institute, maybe at a district level, state level, or national level, or they have organized some conferences. Then research, product development, consultancy, testing, and last is the faculty performance and appraisal system. Now, when we look particularly at the faculties, now when I have gone through the participants in this workshop, they have applied it. I have seen that many professors, many principals, deans, at least I can say that 50 to 60% are working at the administration level or at the top level, and they play a key role in this faculty development. So we can say that if a faculty is developed, if we take care as an administrator, maybe a HOD, maybe a principal, dean, or a professor, if we take care of overall development of the faculty, definitely if the departments get developed, the student gets benefited of that, the institute gets benefit of all this faculty development. So if you look at the faculty, basically how a faculty can be developed or what competencies are there for faculty, that is whatever the institution carries the resources, that resources can be shared by a faculty. As an example, if we have memberships of different journals, maybe IEEE journal, Springer, Elsevier, and all these things, a faculty will be able to explore these resources. He can go on downloading these papers. He can try to identify the problems if you want to pursue his PhD and all these things. Then, if an institution has a well-developed laboratories, state-of-art laboratories, definitely that will be benefited to the faculty. And overall, we can say that if a faculty is developed, if a faculty gets connected in all the areas, I'm using the word connected, definitely whatever the knowledge he will be gaining, that will be shared by the students. And definitely now we are going for outcome-based education, that all the inputs by the faculty will be given to the students. And definitely the students will able to cope up with the PEOs outcomes that we have defined, and definitely that will be correlated with the vision and mission of the department and institute. If a faculty is benefited, definitely the student will be benefited, and so on. So for the faculty competencies, various areas have been defined. There are nearly 50 to 20 areas where the faculty can be explored. I'm just highlighting few of them. The specialization of the faculty, the development of the faculty in the domain which he is working, training provided to the faculties, interaction of the faculties with the external world, maybe in terms of delivering the lectures, maybe having the interaction with the industries, resource persons. If a faculty is being developed in a particular core area, he can work as a resource at various organizations, various institutes. Based on that, he can have a good exposure with the external world, that is with the industries, institutes. A faculty, if he is involved in the research, definitely whatever the work he is going to carry it out, whatever the publications he are going to do, that will be definitely benefited by him as well as the institute and department. Consultancies, testing where that particular faculty is involving, and definitely if you look all at this, then what achievement a faculty is going to have it from all these things. Okay, so this is what, if we focus on all this, definitely faculty contribution maybe 150 marks, 50 marks, definitely we are going to achieve this. So we can say that Rome is not built in a day. Similarly, this cannot happen in 15 days or 16 days or 6 months and all these things. If you look at various criteria, in some they are saying current academic year -2, in some they -3. So maybe a head of department, in professor, principal need to, and then you need to work it out. As an example, what competencies, what specialization faculty can have. As I am from electronic telecommunication department, I am focusing with my department. Right now, I have 6 regular staffs with me. So based on that, I have just highlighted what are my specializations of my staff. As an example, particularly my specialization is in machine vision and pattern recognition and embedded system. I go for communication. In communication area, my faculty, Dr. A.V. Salunke and Professor T.M. Jadhav, have specialization. If we go for embedded system, our Professor N.P. Joshi and myself, we go for VLSI Chaudhary sir, electronic devices and modeling, Professor Shinde, Professor Doke. If I need to explore all these specializations, I can effectively make in all these areas. We look at the faculty development, the same thing. First is how teaching can be enhanced. Now,
सर आवाज येत नाही. हॅलो हॅलो
Notice, sir, your voice is not audible, sir.
definitely, if you look, this domain knowledge can be explored. Hello. This,
Yes, sir. Now,
sir, is it audible?
नाव
Now
नो
audible.
ऑडिबल सर. थोडा वेळ नव्हता आवाज.
Sir, problem is that even in Pune, we are having a heavy rainfall. You are able to hear the rain at all. There some network issue may be there. So if you have any problem, just convey me. According to that, I can take the action over
Yes
it.
sir. Yes sir. Yes sir.
The domain upgradation of a faculty, how that particular domain can be enhanced. Example, if I am working in a machine vision area, suppose my faculty is working in a signal processing area, I need to motivate my staff to attend particular training programs related to the signal processing, maybe at IITs, NITs, or anywhere in these training programs. Then if my faculty knowledge gets enhanced, definitely he can work as a resource persons at various training programs. As an example, today we have seen that whatever the faculties we have invited for these sessions, all are all have expertise in that particular areas. Okay. Then my faculty interaction with the industry, what type of interaction we are going to have it. Now we are staying at a remote place in a rural areas, so there we have limitations with interaction with the industries. But if you have a good caliber, your domain knowledge is enhanced, definitely we can have an interaction with the industry. Then how the research skills can be enhanced. Suppose the faculty is MTech, if HOD, professor or principals take care that my faculty should have PhD degree, if we try to just motivate him, that would be sufficient for us. Definitely finally he's going to work it out. Now when we go for a particular research area, where this research component is coming, now this is applicable to all the organizations, maybe a diploma or a degree. If you consider the faculty research, first is related to the publication, consultancy, funded projects. Now see what are these research publications. During some sessions, there were some queries related to the publications. How many papers we should have, where we should publish the paper and all these things. Now, if you look at particularly for publishing the papers at the well-reputed journals, maybe IEEE, elsewhere and all these things, depending upon the type of journal, the review time is going to vary. As an example, I have published nearly 80 papers. Out of that, 16 papers are in well-reputed journals with impact factor. One of my paper is in patent recognition journal of elsewhere, where the impact factor is 7.5. Now, if any participant or suppose any faculty publish this paper, then your department credit, entire department credit, you will get it. During any committee, it may be a UGC, AICT or accreditation committee, because you have published a paper in a well-reputed journal with the impact factor 7.5. There, the number doesn't matter. One time, so I have gone through 3 accreditation cycles in 2005, 2010, and 2015. Okay. Earlier, it was a person specific. If a person was going to publish 10 papers, definitely that would be credited and you would get a good marks. But now the scenario has changed. You faculty need to contribute in publishing this paper. Okay. So it is my personal opinion, and based on all these things, we should try to publish the paper in a good journal. Then how many number of papers your faculty have published, that is going to vary. Then if you go for consultancy with the industry, you are going to have the consultancy, what type of product development you have did it, in what way you are going to do the consultancy with the industry. Then second part is, if no consultancy, what testing assignments you have carried out, what testing has been carried out in under your supervision or your laboratory. Because see, whenever we are going for this testing, definitely that will be benefited, because majority of the time testing is done by teamwork. So you need to associate 2-3 faculties or 1 faculties with you. Definitely will get the benefit. When we go for funding, we need to fetch funding from the various organizations. As an example, AICT every year announces call for proposals of sanction of funds for the MODROP, maybe a research proposals, RPS, and various schemes. Then Atomic Research Institutes, they are calling, DST is calling for the proposals. You can submit your proposals for fetching the grant from these organizations. Even some industry is going to provide you some funds from carrying out the projects. Maybe they need to develop small products. Then sometimes it is a need for requirement of the institute to develop some products. At that time, institute may be funding these projects, maybe funding for a particular project. So all this we need to take care. Then definitely what achievements a faculty will able to do. As an example, when you start working for the research, you may apply for a patent or copyrights. Basically, copyright is nothing, but we can say persons, those who are working in the area of computer, IT, electronics, and all these things, you develop some algorithm. With that algorithm, you're going to get the results. Suppose as an example, I can say using a small example, I am saying using artificial neural network, you have written some algorithm for classification of say cancer patients, and you are getting the good results. Then you can apply for the copyright. Patent is nothing but you have to go for a hardware. There you can apply it from our institute. Already one of my colleague, even though we are working in a diploma institute in the rural areas, my colleague has applied for the patent, and recently 15 days before we have also applied for a patent. Then we go for the award. What type of award you are going to get it? Maybe a faculty may receive a state level award, maybe a district level organization award, or maybe a national award. It may be from AICT, IST, DST, any award you can face that award, but particularly you need to work in that area. Then already we have said it. What type of election a faculty is going to have? Maybe as a resource person at some, maybe as a resource person for delivering a talk at a conference, at a workshop, or he may be associated with some bodies, maybe IST, IET, IEEE, and so on. So this all will be the achievements of the how you are going to write down the report for this faculty contributions, that is the criteria 5. Now, whatever the faculty information is needed for a degree and a diploma institute, nearly it is one and the same. 1 or 2 points have been varied. Now, this is the example for the faculty information of a degree. Name of the faculty, degree, highest degree, what he has achieved it. Then the year of attaining higher qualification, association with the institute, your designation, date on which designated as professor or associate professor. If you are a professor or associate professor, then date of joining the institute, department you are working, this your specialization, research paper publications, PhD guidance, faculty receiving PhD during the assessment years, associated with the date of leave and nature of is a regular contract. We'll see in the later slides the regular contract. Now, if you go for diploma, they have modified this faculty information table, name of the faculty, qualification, university and year of graduation they are asking, where in the degree they were asking as the date of higher degree, then designation on joining, and your distribution of a teaching load, that is A, B, and C. We already know A, if you are working in this department, if you are associated with the other department. Earlier this A, B, C was there, but now they have removed this C. Then in the academic research, publications, MTech, PhD received during that year. Then your experience as industry or teaching, and nature of association as a regular. A regular faculty, whatever we are going to see. Now, this is the SFR, we'll see later on. Okay, so this is one example. The faculty information of our institute related to our department, we have filled this. Now, here, distribution of teaching load, we have assigned it as. Here we have written 1.25, 0.5, and all these things. We'll try to understand this. What is this 1.25, 0.5, or anything? Suppose I will share 2-3 examples with you. Many times there is confusion in the faculties while deciding what should be A, B, and all these things, how these values are coming. Suppose let us say, as an example, of faculty A is there, who is having a teaching load of 18 hours. All that 18 hours, he is teaching to the, say, A department. So his distribution of teaching load for that department will be 100%. That is 100% is 1. We have mapped it to 1. So if he is teaching all the 18 hours to that particular department, then his load would be 1 for this department. Suppose one more faculty is there, faculty B. His total load is of 10 hours. We should never compare how many teaching hours he is going to conduct it. We should understand what is the total load of that faculty. We know that we are saying 18 hours, 16 hours, 14 hours load is to be given. but it depends upon other tasks, what portfolio he is going to handle. I have considered an example B. A faculty just having a teaching load of 10 hours, and that all 10 hours he is teaching to a particular A department. Faculty B having 10 hours, he is teaching to the A department, and his total load is 10 hours. Then his load would be 1 for that department. Let us consider faculty C. His total load is of only 4 hours. I said one example, 18, 10 and 4 hours. If that faculty is having a load of 4 hours and he is teaching only one department, then also his load would be 1. Now we'll consider next example, B. If a faculty is there, let us say now this what we have said is these are the first year faculties. Okay. Now first year faculty, if he is teaching English, physics, mathematics, whole load he will be not sharing to a particular A department. So that faculty may be shared with department A, B, C, and D, or let us say A and B. If you consider A and B, if in department A, suppose that faculty D, whose total load is of 10 hours, if he is teaching 5 hours in department A and 5 hours in department B, then his contribution here would be teaching load will be 0.5 for this department. Now, when we go for this degree, how we are going to calculate the SFR? In order to calculate this SFR, they have various criteria. Okay. So, what should be the SFR and what marks are to be given? For diploma, a weightage of 24 marks. If your SFR is less than or equal to 25, you will get 25 marks. And if it is greater than 30, you will get 0 marks. If you look at the degree, the weightage for calculation of this SFR, they have given it as 20. If your SFR is less than or equal to 15, you will get 20 marks. And if it is greater than 25, you will just get 0 marks. So these are the weightages of marks defined by the NBA. One more point, there are always some queries that what we are going to do, in what way the NBA committee is going to do. Let us understand the terminology behind this. NBA committee here in your institute is just there to verify whatever the data you have provided. NBA committee is never going to say why you have provided in this way and that way and all these things. It is your perception. It is the way you have given a thought process over this. You have taken some cumulative decision and then you are presenting it. So NBA is there. NBA committee is there in your institute. Whatever the data you have provided in SAR, the same they are going to verify. For everything, you need to have the evidences. So whenever you are going to calculate the SFR, that is, we need to understand what is the sanction intake of that department or a program, then number of faculties, that is A plus B. Okay, and A is nothing but a faculty specific program considering his fractional load or total load to that department, and B is the faculty serving from the other program to your department considering his fractional load. So we need to understand the difference between regular and contractual faculty. A regular faculty is a full-time faculty who will be working as a full-time in your institute. Now, with respect to contractual faculty, there are different terminologies. They are saying that at least the basic amount you should be paying to them. Okay, so 25% that can be considered. And one more thing is that faculty should teach consecutive 2 semesters in your program. Then only we are able to consider. In some institute, we have adjunct faculties, so that will be also considered. Now, as an example, we are just estimating the student faculty ratio. Now, in my department, I'm just considering my program. In my program, in current academic year -2, that is 2018-19, my sanction intake of the student for 3 years was 60, 60, 60, that is 180. Then in 1920, my intake was decreased from 60 to 42. So in current academic year -1, that is 2019-20, my total number of students were 162. And presently for this current academic year 2021, my total intake is 162. So if I calculate the fractional load, already we have shown here, okay, this is the fractional load I have calculated for this year. So 6 plus 1, that is the 7. So similarly, current academic year, number of faculties in my department were 7. No doubt, on roll there are 10 faculties, but based on the load, only 7 faculties are there. Current academic year minus 1, that is 2019 and 20, it is 6.95, and in 1890 it was 6.5. In order to calculate the SFR, we know that total number of students, that is the sanction intake, divided by faculties available, that is 162 by 7, it is 23.14. Then 162 divided by 6.95, it is 23.9. And 180 divided by 6.5, it is 27.69. So if I calculate the average SFR for assessment years, it is coming to be 24.71. So based on that, if it is 24.71, I will be getting the marks of 25 here. If this SFR goes on increasing, then definitely I'll be losing the marks here in this criteria. One more point they have provided, that is provide the information about the regular and contractual faculties as per the format. No doubt, even though I am having 10 faculties, I need some extra faculties or visiting staff or a contractual faculty who will be teaching the load in the other departments, maybe electrical department, computer department, and IT department. So this year we are having 10 faculties, and as all the online lectures are going on, we are not requiring any contractual faculties. Last year it was 9 plus 2, and earlier to that it was 10 plus 2. Now next is we need to understand what is this faculty qualification, and we need to find out the figures for it. Now when we go for faculty qualification index, faculty qualification index is equal to your 2 into 10x plus 7y divided by F. Now whatever this F is there, it is based, or we need to comply the ratio of 25:1 or 1:25. X is nothing but the faculty having MTech qualification. Y is the faculty having BTech qualification. So we'll try to estimate. If we look at the current academic year, I have 10 faculties in my department. 9 faculties are with MTech qualification. 1 faculty is with BE qualification. So by compiling the standard, my faculty ratio comes to be here 6.48. And the faculty qualification index here for current academic year is coming as 29.93. Similarly, I need to find out the value for current academic year minus 1, that is 1920, 1820. Based on this faculty ratio, total value I am getting is the average of these three, 29.93 plus 26.85 plus 26.94. The average assessment value I am getting is at 27.9. Now they have provided for diploma, they have said it whether your principal or any faculty is having the PhD degree, whereas for degree they are saying as what is the cadre ratio is maintained in the department or no. So if we look here, in our department we have 2 PhD degree holders. Our principal is PhD. Similarly, one of our faculty for first year is also having the PhD marks. So here definitely we'll get marks out of this. The next is faculty retention. Now if you look at faculty retention, there is somewhat difference between the government organization, private organization, and autonomous institute. In autonomous institute, your faculty's retention ratio is good. In private organizations, in good institutes, the retention ratio is very good. But in some institute, we try to see that always there is migration of the faculty. And in government organizations, no doubt there is migration of faculty, but it is in terms of transfer. That is, that faculty is being transferred from one institute to the other institute. And in that case, whatever the committee is there, if one faculty gets transferred and the other faculty joins that organization, then we are going to consider that the faculty has been retained. We're not going to consider faculty has been transferred, so your retention ratio decreases. But if the faculty is being transferred and that position remains vacant, then the retention ratio would be decreased. So in order to get these marks, faculty retention for diploma, it is 20 marks, for degree 25 marks. And definitely faculty ratio is considered based on the current academic year -2. That is, if this year you are going to submit the report, then it would be 18-19. Based on that, we are going to find out what would be the faculty retention ratio. If it is greater than 90 or equal to 90, you will get 20 marks, and so on. If it goes on decreasing, your marks are also going to decrease. And if faculty retention ratio is less than 50, then you are going to get 0 marks in this criteria. As an example, I have shown here a table of current academic year 2021, current academic year -1 90-20, and current academic year -2 18-19. So I am in this department from last 3 years. Professor Shinde is there from the last 3 years. Chaudhary is there from the last 3 years. Jadhav is there from last 2 years because she have joined this institute by transfer. Then Dr. Saunke is there for last 3 years. Mrs. Joshi is there for 3 years. Gaikwad and this Jadhav madam, there was a transfer. So Jadhav madam has been transferred against Gaikwad. So this position is there. Mrs. Doke is there for last 3 years. Mr. Salve, who is from first year department. Okay. Then Zamdade is here for last 3 years. Dhanke is there for last 3 years. Against this Naupute, this Salve has been transferred. So if you look at this particular faculty retention, it is greater than 90% for my department. In same way, we can calculate the values for this. So how do we calculate this faculty retention? NBA has given a thought process over this, and well, formulations they have did it. So if you want to calculate the faculty retention ratio for that particular department, you need to find out the required faculty, which is defined in the criteria number 5.1. We need to find out the SFR. Okay, so the number of faculty required for current academic year is 6.48. Current academic year -1 was 6.48, and current academic year -2 18-90 was 7.3. If I take the average of this, I am getting the ratio of 6.72. The value I am getting it as faculty required is 6.2. So while finding out this value, we should comply the standard of 1:25 SFR. Now, if you look at the retention ratio, total number of faculty retained upon total number of faculty required into 100, it is in percentage. So my 9 faculties have been retained, and my faculty required was 6.72, the average of last 3 years, into 100. So the value I am getting it as 134.32. So my faculty retention ratio, I'll get 20 out of 20 marks. Then next, we'll see what different weightages have been assigned for a diploma or degree. This value figures goes on changing. Now, as an example, for faculty participation in training, again, NBA has given the guidelines. If a faculty attends a training program for 1 or 2 days, then he will get 1 point. If that faculty attends a training program for 3 to 5 days, he will get 2 points. And then if he attends a training program greater than 5 days, then he will get 5 points. Now see, whether that training program is greater than 5 days or it was conducted for 5 days and all these things, we'll discuss a small example for this. Now, whatever the FDPs which are being conducted here, normally they are conducted for 5 days. But everyone takes care, even though that faculty training program is conducted for 5 days, on the leaflet or on the flyer, we write it as 1 day faculty, 1 week, sorry, not 1 week, 1 day. It is 1 week faculty development training program. The reason behind this is that we want to score 5 points, or the faculty should get benefit out of this. Okay. So based on this marks, we need to calculate the faculty participation in training program as an example. But see, there is a difference here. Whenever we are finding out this faculty participation in different training programs, in earlier examples for SFR and all these things, we have considered -1 current academic year, -1, -2. But here, whenever you want to estimate, you want to consider even current academic year -3. That is, current academic year is 2021. So -3 would be 17-18. Based on that, we are going to find out the values. Okay. So whatever the training programs you have attended, so normally I motivate my faculty or encourage my faculty to attend the training program always. So we can see at the figures, I have attended 6 training programs in this year. Last year, 4 programs. Before that, 4 programs. And in 17-18, I have attended 5 training programs. Similarly, all faculties have attended this training program. So the count comes to be 28, 34, 16, 10. And all these training programs, what we have considered are of 1 week. So we multiplied by 5. The value we are getting it as 140, 170, 80, 50. And the faculty required by compiling that 1:25 ratio is 6.48, 6.48. And for current academic year -3, it was 7.2 because our intake was 180. And the maximum marks we are going to assign here, no doubt we are getting total 140, 170, 80, 50. The maximum marks that are assigned here are 30. So all these 3 years, in calculation for current academic year, we are not going to consider. We'll be considering -1, -2, and -3. Okay. So if you look at this average, so the value they have given it as assessment for faculty participation is 6 into the sum, what we have achieved it, maybe a 178 and all these things, divided by 0.5 into the faculty retention ratio that we have achieved is of, for that respective year, it may be a 6.42 and 7.2 for -2, -3. So when you get this as average, we are going to just consider 30, 30, the average we are going to get it as 30. Sorry, it is 30 plus 30 plus 30 divided by 3. We are getting it as 30. So this is how we are going to get. Now, next part is that what type of training programs you are going to organize in your department. Majority of the times, every institute goes on organizing these training programs. Now, they have assigned only 12 points for this organization or conduction of the programs. Now, as an example, in our department, we have conducted 3 training programs. In May 19, we conducted one data science FDP sponsored by RUSA for 1 week. Then one induction training program sponsored by NITTR Bhopal for 2 weeks, and present Atal FDP for 14 to 18 June. I have just highlighted only these 3, but we have arranged different training programs at our institute. The list comes to be somewhat 6 or 7. So here we need to take initiative in organizing training programs. Maybe you can get sponsorship from your institute, or you can get sponsorship from EST, UGC, or AICT for organization of this program. Okay. Then based on this, we'll try to understand what type of consultancy, manufacturing process, testing contracts, product development, research. Now, if you look particularly for a diploma, the research component is less, whereas there is more scope for degree in research that I will be discussing at the end of this. Now, when you go for this, AICT, the NBA committee has given the guidelines in SAR. They have said it for every testing, every consultancy, or any product development or revenue generation, you should have documentary evidences. Okay. Now, as an example, we have did the testing as we are from the government organizations. Always we get opportunity for providing the testing services to other industries and all these things. So one testing we have provided to this winner software, we generated a revenue of 21,000. Then next municipal corporation 24,000. Then through the district sports office, DPC committee, we have did testing, and presently we are having one pharmacy testing. The value is nearly 2.4 lakhs. So for every this, you need to have the documentation, whatever the testing service testing charges you have received it, then the testing you have distributed to the team members or the staff members, based on what you have generated the revenue. Revenue generation may be, suppose you are conducting some test at your institute, maybe a CET entrance exam you are conducting at your institute. Definitely that is a revenue generation you did at your department. So you will get the benefit of this. Based on this, you can get definitely. Now next part is faculty performance appraisal and development system, that is FPADS. For all the government organizations or tier 1 institute, this faculty performance appraisal and development system is well defined. If we are going to define this FPADS properly, definitely a staff would be motivated, engaged, and the working environment would be healthy, because you are going to give all the benefits to the staff. Then how effectively you are implementing this FPADS, and then how qualification upgradation of the staffs you have did it. As an example, if we are a degree, all the staff would be MTech. If you are diploma, degree staff would be there. So you support that staff, you encourage that staff, or you give the deputation for that staff under QIP for upgradation of their MTech. In government organizations, always the staff is deputed under QIP at the IITs or NITs for pursuing their PhDs or MTech levels. In many autonomous institutes, they are doing, in some private organizations, they are doing it. Not necessarily they depute it, but they give you freedom that by means without doing some academic loss and all these things, if you can pursue your PhD, or in the vacation you can pursue your MTech. You need to provide a document for this, and definitely you can get this marks for faculty upgradation. Okay, so as an example, this FPADS is well defined in government organizations. We have confidential report every year, and this last 2 years with implementation of 7th pay, AICT has gone for 360-degree feedback. In this, all these criteria are coming. That is, need is basically to motivate the faculty for research and upgradation of their qualification, then professional growth of the faculty, and then optimizing the contribution of an individual faculty. Performance criteria is defined on different ways. Now, this is what I have associated with one of the institute. With that discussions, we have taken this FPADS. Okay, then result analysis and the action to improve the result. Professional society memberships, how the staff is encouraged to take the professional society membership. As an example, maybe IST, IET, or IEEE membership. Then what is the student feedback? What industry interactions a particular faculty has done it? How many industry visits he has done it individually for this upgradation? What placement efforts he have been taken? Then implementation of OBE framework, theory and practical classes. Then industrial training, seminars, workshop, conference attended, conducted. Remedial coaching or remedial classes he has conducted. Then question papers and model answers he have set for the university examinations. Then research work, paper publication. So whatever the parameters are there related to the faculty development, this will be all included in this faculty assessment. Okay. Now, if you look at this, this is one example of the flow chart I have taken from the institute. Issue of self-appraisal form to the faculty, then completion of faculty will complete and submit that form to the HOD, then presentation of the faculty to the respective HODs and committees, then authentication and evaluation by the HOD and committees. Based on that, the remark by the HOD conveyed to the respective faculty through the head of the department, then compliance report of that HOD, then monitoring compliance by the HOD. When we look at the government organizations, everywhere this system is implemented, we have the confidential report. In this, all the care is taken. We have regular feedbacks in what way the faculty is going to contribute in the department. All the parameters are included, and based on this is assigned. Okay. Now we'll go for the last point of this session, that is research and development. This is basically deals with the degree institute. In a diploma SAR, this is not defined or no weightage is given for this. Okay. Now, if you look at the academic research, okay, what paper publications have been done by the faculty, how many PhD student he is going to guide it, and then if a faculty has completed PhD during that continuous assessment, this will contribute the marks. So if the number of quality publications did in a referred journals or books or book chapters, you'll get 6 marks, they'll get 6. Yes, sir. Huh? Hello? Hello? Am I audible, madam? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay. So for paper, maybe a SCI papers, refer journals, or citation of books, book chapters, you will get 6 marks. Then if you are guiding, if you are a PhD guide, 2-3 students have completed or 1 student has completed, you will get 4 marks. Or a faculty has completed his PhD or MTech during that assessment here, 4 marks, but definitely this is to be well documented. When we go for funding, research funding and development, what type of funds you have received it. Now we say major projects, minor projects, and all these things. UGC defines as a major and minor projects, but in this NBA criteria, they have given some criteria how much marks should be assigned. So if you complete a sponsor research project or you get a funding of 20 lakhs or more, you'll get 5 marks, sorry. And if it is in the range of 60 to 20 lakhs, 4 marks. Funding is in the range of 12 to 16, 3 marks, 8 to 12 lakh, 2 marks, 4 to 8 lakhs, 1 mark. And if it is less than, it is 2 lakh, you'll get 0 marks. Okay, this is for funding. And if you go for any development, maybe a product, a research laboratory, you have developed some instruction materials, maybe a lab manuals, working models, some monograms, books, and all these things, then definitely you are going to get 10 marks for this. So this is the overall criteria 5 faculty contribution. Okay, and in this, now if you are doing some consultancy from industry or testing you are going to carry out, these are the marks you will be getting. Okay, so this is all from my side. We can have the question and answers or queries. We can have the discussions for this session. Thank you very much.
Participants can unmute themselves to ask the questions.
Yes, if you have any queries,
Yes.
we can have the discussion. Yes.
Sir.
Hello, sir. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, whatever you said that faculty retention.
Yes, sir. Just I want to know regarding the number of faculty contribution. In that you have added that if a person is taking in first year, some of the loads in English in one section, in other section some other load. So in that case, how the the person or the total manpower will be divided?
Okay, I will share some example. Let us consider I am a head of department, so I need to conduct 1 hours. Okay, but if I am teaching 10 hours to my department, or let us say I am teaching 10 hours of load. Out of 10 hours, 8 hours I am teaching to my department. I am teaching, maybe it doesn't matter you are teaching a theory class or a practical class. 8 hours I am utilizing in my department and 2 hours I am utilizing in a computer department. So my faculty contribution to this department with respect to the load would be of only 0.8 and 0.2. That is, I am just mapping 10 hours to 100%. 8 hours in this department, so it would be 0.8, and in other departments it would be 0.2. So my contribution in this department would be only 0.8.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Is it? Yes, sir. So what we have did it, sir, if we consider in terms of number of hours and all these things for calculation, it becomes tedious. So in order to make it simple, whatever total number of lectures are there, we'll map to 1, sir. Instead of 100%, we'll map it to 1. So 1, 1.2, 1.4, it would be easy for calculation. Sorry, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6 or 0.2.
Yes, sir, definitely. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the information.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Any other participants?
Hello, sir. I have a question.
Yeah, ma'am.
This is with regards to, suppose if as a PhD co-guider, will I get any points, sir? Not as a guide, co-guide.
Madam, definitely you will get some points. Because see what is happening, madam, as per the new UGC norms, even I will share this with you. If you are working that in that university, you will be a guide, and if you are working for the other university, you will be associated as a co-guide, and for co-guide also you will get that weightage, madam.
Okay, sir. Because I'm co-guide for 3 universities: Anna University, Madurai Kamaraj, and the JJT private university. So,
Madam.
whether it is considered or not, I was having a doubt. And 4 of my scholars are going to submit by December.
Madam,
Sir.
whenever a PhD awarded notification will be given to the candidate, okay,
Sir.
in that copy, it is mentioned copy to the guide, copy to the co-guide. That documentary evidence you will be having it, and you need to preserve that documentary evidence, because definitely you are guiding the student, madam. So you will get marks for it.
Thank you so much, sir. This was the biggest doubt I had, whether it will be considered or not. And really, you cleared it, and truly, thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. There is one. Yes.
No, it was me, sir. Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session. Sir, you are the only person I have seen from whom everyone should take guidance for his career and development. Sir, you are dynamic, knowledgeable.
If any person.
Sir,
I think.
good evening,
Yes.
sir. Hello, sir. I have doubt. I am Shashikant Landge from TKIT Polytechnic, Varnanagar, sir. Narote,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So will you
Yes,
please
certainly.
explain student-faculty ratio once again, please? I missed that, sir. Student-faculty ratio. I attended, but I'm having doubt in that slide. Will you please, sir?
Sir, we'll do one thing. Whatever this, if you want to need the explanation of that entire SF, better faculty. We'll ask your call rate and have that entire. Please, sir. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other participants?
Sir,
Namaste, sir.
hello. Sir, if
Yes, sir.
faculty is
Yes.
one for- sir, is a faculty is
Sir,
one
what
for
about
higher study
NPTEL FTP, sir? FTP courses.
in sponsorship?
What is the
Definitely they are
weightage?
having the weightage as, madam, weightage is upon you are going to attend that workshop training program, right, madam? So you will get that
Yes,
weightage.
sir.
Yes, madam, they have said it 1 or 2 days, 5 days, or greater than 5 days, 1 week. You'll definitely get 5 marks for it, madam.
No, sir, we are doing 12 weeks and 8 weeks programs. FTP.
Madam, see, madam, 12 weeks, 8 weeks, that are considered in your cash, madam. When you want to go for a higher, you want to change, means for a higher grade pay and all these things, definitely it would be considered in your cash. Without that, you will not get the promotions right now, madam. But if you look at the our SAR, in that they have said it only how many number of training programs you have attended, whether it is greater than 5 days or all this.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other participants?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session. Sir, you are the only person
Sir.
I have seen from whom. Okay, sir. Okay.
There is one
Okay,
question.
sir.
So just one,
Yeah.
just one query, sir.
Yes, sir.
If we do any, if we are doing any online program like NPTEL or all, so these things will be counted as FDPs or not?
Sir, if you look at this pandemic scenario, sir, okay. Now, if you look at this, definitely this online will be considered, sir. Because from last 2 years, we are not able to attend any face-to-face training programs and all these things, sir. So you will get the weightage for it, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other participants?
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, training about single training or multiple training programs calculated days, or single program day is calculated.
Okay, let us consider your example. If you are attending,
I have attended 6 FDP, sir, through
Sir,
Atal. So
हाँ.
that is the example I want to.
So 6 5 are 30 points for yourself. Okay. But in that criteria, it has mentioned that the total score should be maximum 30 marks will be considered. Hello. Is it clear, sir?
Once
Well,
again, please, sir. I didn't.
So whenever you are calculating the marks for number of training programs attended by the faculty, overall calculations will be for all the faculties. If you suppose, let us say there are 5 faculties in your department, and you have attended 5 now you have said you have attended 5 Atal FDPs. Okay. So all the Atal FDPs are for, sorry, all these Atal FDPs are for 1 week. So 5 training programs of 5 days means in front of your name, it would be 25 marks. 5 5 are 25. Other faculty attends 2 training programs of 1 week each, then 5 2s are 10. So 25 plus 10, 35. And based on that, we are going to do the calculations.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So one last question, can I?
Yeah, madam, surely.
Yeah. The question is, there are patents, sir. Now we are applying for patents and all. I am
Okay.
there. I have not innovated, that kind of product, but I am doing documentation for that particular concept which has been innovated by my group. So, do we get points if I'm joining as a one of the member as an author for that innovation program, for that innovation when we are applying for it into documentation part? So, will I be getting points? Will it be validated? I'm from business management.
Yeah, madam, I will just elaborate this one example.
Please, sir.
Okay. Suppose, let us say for your patent, there are 10 marks. Okay.
Sure.
And there are 4 applicants in that patent. Let us say one is the inventor, one is the guide, and 2 other persons, those who have helped them for filing. Now you are saying that you are preparing the document.
Sure.
Okay. So the 50% marks will be given to the inventor and the guide for it, and remaining 50% marks will be distributed in the co-applicants, madam. But as in a case, your name is there in that patent,
Sure.
for your accreditation process, you will get full marks, madam.
Okay. That would be great, sir. Thank you so much. So it is validated, no, sir? That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, madam, this mark distribution comes earlier. The API norms are there. If you want to still again apply for, now UGC has scrapped this API. But when you go for calculation of this API, these norms are given this much marks for the inventor, this much marks for the guide, and so on, all these things. But when it comes to the NBA, madam, if suppose, let us say, now recently my candidate has completed his PhD and one paper we have published in the Springer Nature, madam.
Yeah.
So there, 3 applicants are there, madam. Okay, so I can present that paper in my institute. I will get full marks for NBA. If my
Yes.
candidate presents that paper in his institute, he will get full marks. The third person will get full marks. But madam, one thing is that if your name is there now, as I am a guide associated, in this my appellation is mentioned as my institute name.
Sure.
So I will get marks for this. But if you switch your institute, now it basically depends upon the committee member. Your name is there, but your institute name is not there in the appellation. So the ball will be in their court whether to consider that marks or not. Ideally
Okay.
speaking, we can say your institute appellation and your name is included in that. Definitely you will get the weightage for it, and you will get the
Oh.
full marks for this NBA.
Okay.
NBA
Okay.
never says, none of the guidelines or none of the committee members says that there should be only one author, two author, three author for maybe a patent, maybe a publication. Multiple authors are there. No matter, you will get full weightage for it, madam.
Okay. Okay. That is great, sir. Because we are going for NAC accreditation.
Yeah, madam. NAC
Yeah,
surely
so-
you will get it, madam. No problem.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. These two were very important queries for me. You have addressed very appropriately. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir, good evening, sir. This is Jagdish.
Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, I have one doubt that suppose, like in terms of lab setup, so suppose if you are collaborated with other department, so whether we will get the points for that. So there is a separate column for lab setup, and if there is any course materials which are available relate to that particular lab setup. So if we are associated with other department, like in our college, so how can we showcase those things? So under that, our students is also, if they get trained, so can we showcase that for like a lab?
Sir, surely can showcase that, because whatever the labs you are going to have the setups, or maybe present state of art lab you are going to establish, and if your contribution is there in that, definitely you'll get the points for it, sir. It doesn't matter it is in your department or other department. It is your contribution in the lab development, sir. Sir, faculty where we are distributing, whenever we are calculating the SFR itself, at that time we say my load for this department is 0.5, my load for this department is 0.4, or this department is 1. Whenever a lab is established, and if you are associated with that lab, definitely you will get the marks for it, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
I hope I have answered your question, sir. Right?
Any other participants? So thank you, sir. Okay.
Thank you all of you.
Chandra sir, just a minute.
Okay, okay, sir.
Very informative session, Dr. Narote sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Am I audible? Okay.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yes,
Regarding doctorates in the polytechnics,
Yes, sir.
some emphasis is given by you for guiding the students.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But earlier the thing is that they should have been experience holder for teaching postgraduates.
Yes, sir.
See, a polytechnic staff, how you will be a postgraduate teacher? So some those people, like in Karad, one of my colleagues actually tried hell and this thing and got permission to teach PG students. But in some remote areas, how the polytechnic staff will be teaching the PG students to enroll themselves, because your background is you have come from a degree and
Yes,
you could guide the students. But for polytechnic students, for those doctorates, asking them that as a parameter of guiding PhDs, is it logically included, or simply a degree format has been imposed on the polytechnic staff?
Sir, there can be a lot of debate, but I will share my personal opinion with you,
see,
because we are not the policy makers, but I can share with you, sir. Even though you are a polytechnic staff, doesn't matter. I am also a polytechnic staff now. If you have expertise, definitely you can go for teaching a postgraduate student. In some institutes, you can associate yourself. As an example, Walchand Institute is there, and in many institutes, they have started some PG programs with the civil department and all this. And definitely you can associate and teach them for PG course. But if you look at the university norms, sir, in university norms earlier, a person who was supposed to teach the postgraduate students, PG recognition is given to them. For that, the criteria is that he should be a full-time faculty of that institute who is teaching that postgraduate course. Now we can teach postgraduate courses of postgraduate students, but as per the university norms, now even I will not get a PG recognition. I have a PG recognition for the earlier date when I was teaching in the degree college, but now we'll not able to get the PG recognition as per as even for the UGC norms, new UGC norms, we are not able to have the full guideship. We'll be having a co-guideship with us. These are norms laid down by the UGC, and even earlier we have written to the UGC as well as AICT that many of polytechnic staffs have completed their PhDs from NITs, IITs, and they should be given an opportunity to guide the PhD students, but there is no reply from AICT or UGC. They said it is as per the UGC norm. Even I personally have applied through the RTI and all these things. They said, okay, this is the policy framed by this. I said it, whatever the manpower is there, who have done their PhDs from the IITs as NITs, crores of rupees have been funded by this government under QIP for completion of their PhDs, whether it should be under utilization. They said it, no sir, it is policy decided by the UGC. So we are helpless for this. But sir, now as per the new national education policies, we will be coming under skill development and all these things. Let us hope for the best. Already you have circulated some documents. Let us hope for the best. During that time, we'll be a full guides in the degree colleges, sir. Or we'll be guiding the full-time PhD scholars.
Okay, okay. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other participants?
Hello.
Yes, madam. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Actually, sir, it was a very wonderful session and full of information. I just want to know only one confirmation. There are 5 marks of this AICT Atal 5 days FGP.
Yes, madam. Surely. Madam, if you have seen or the flyer what we have sent to you, madam. In that we have written one week. And whatever the certificate that is of 1 week FDP, madam.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Any other
so
participant?
much.
Any other participant?
Okay. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, sir,
Thank you,
for
sir.
such a wonderful session. Sir, you are the only person I have seen from whom everyone should take the guidance for career and development. Sir, you are dynamic, knowledgeable, and our beloved HOD. Your presentation skills are excellent, sir, and your PPTs were very vivid. I'm waiting for last 3 days for this session, sir. No doubt you have explained this faculty information and contribution in the perspective of NBA criteria. But this is actually this will be the lifetime roadmap for everyone, those who want to excel in the teaching profession. Thank you, sir, for organizing such a wonderful FDP. Now I request TM Dada madam to continue further.
Madam, before further, now not as a speaker, I need to have some discussions with all the participants. So tomorrow morning one session is there at 10 o'clock. Then second session is at 12:30. Maybe that session may be completed by 3 o'clock. We are having a very wonderful session from the Arts of Living, Tejwani madam, Dimple madam. So what we do expect, whatever the last session is there, third session, which as per the schedule, it is supposed to start at 3:15, and I will be delivering the session on that. Even we have to appear for the test tomorrow, as well as we need to give the feedback. So shall we go with the last session, or we should have the validity at 3:30? Yes, from participants. Because chief guest for validity function, I have said that he may be available at 3:30 or 4 o'clock. Later, he would not be available because right now all the AIC scrutiny committee meetings are going on.
Your session can we shift it before 3 and valedictory session can be conducted at 3:30?
Depending upon tomorrow's afternoon, because sir, whatever the policies which have been laid by AICTE Atal Academy, they have specifically mentioned that one session should be on stress management, emotional intelligence, and all these things.
It's good thing, sir. It's good.
Yeah. So we'll see, sir, how we can manage it tomorrow.
Oh, no problem, sir. It's means after 5 days we also relieve all these stresses and all this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, right. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Jadhav, madam, you can continue.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Good evening, all. Myself, Tejaswini Jadhav, lecturer in electronics, Government Residency Women's Polytechnic, Tasgaon.
I think they're disconnected.
So once again, thank you on behalf of our department and our college and all the participants to joining us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.